So I was talking about religion with my spirit guide, and I think it's difficult, honestly, difficult to discuss religion in general, simply because someone will get offended. They just will. They will. And not because we mean to offend them, but simply because to each of us, obviously, our religion or our spiritual guidance system, I like that, spiritual guidance system, it's very personal to us. A lot of us live by particular codes laid out wherever, whether it's the Buddhist code, the Christian code, some religious book, whatever it is, we take it personally because, yeah. um, so I don't want anyone to think that any of this is directed anywhere in particular. It's not. In fact, even when she and I were talking, she was like, this is going to be a difficult subject. It is. So, the first suggestion, perhaps look outside of your spiritual realm. Look to a different religion, a different time in history. Something that for yourself you can draw a comparison to. Okay, so it could be something wildly different. So if you're hardcore Catholic, perhaps look into the Muslim culture. If you're hardcore pagan, perhaps look into the Knights Templar. If you are a Druid, look into Buddhism. Something different, all right? So that we can keep perspective, kind of keep things a little bit away from us, so that we don't take offense to anything that's not meant to offend. When she and I discuss religion, which is pretty often, it is certainly one of the things that we genuinely disagree on, particularly. I always joke that she's required to toe the party line because, well, she's a spirit and she's dead and she knows what goes on the other side. And while they're not allowed to give us all of the answers, she certainly tends to keep me on a particular straight and narrow. What do I mean by that? I mean that I know that there is a higher power. Some people prefer to call it God, goddess, whatever. I genuinely prefer to have no specific term. I like higher power. I don't think whoever there would be offended by that in any way, shape, or form. As far as rules go, kindness, love. I mean, it's so simple. And literally every single religion out there, that's what they purport. That's what they want us to do. That's what they want us to emulate, right? Compassion, understanding, kindness, caring. In different ways, of course. There are all different stories and myths regarding how other religious people handle those things in order to give us a specific guideline on how we are supposed to behave. For a lot of religions, charity is a big deal. For some, it is charity in your community. For others, it is doing something big. For others, tithing is specifically important. Basically, support your community, support your church. I love the idea of giving back. I'm not sure I'm so good on specifically being told who to give back to. For example, I think that most churches, this day and age particularly, have plenty. They do. In fact, I'm sure many of them have enough to give back, but only give back in certain ways. Yeah. Yeah. We can just say the Vatican has a heck of a lot of gold that they could be doing a lot better things with, but they're not. So, yeah. Anyhow. I'm sure a lot of people are bothered by that, honestly. Let's just say that out loud. It's okay. It's very tough that a tremendous amount of people cling to religions that were created based on a patriarchal system out of a specific time period. Those that refer to women or children as less property. Historically, we can literally look at almost every religion. that may say something like that. Ironically, the pagans don't have anything like that. In fact, the Native Americans and many of the Celtic and the Viking, especially systems, raise women and children up because it's their next generation. These are the women that create the next generation. Great fighters. Yeah, we are. But everybody knows that. You piss a woman off, you don't want to be living with that woman. But it's certainly a different take, and I want you to pay attention to this perspectives. Because when people oppress other people, it's because they're scared of them. There is fear there one way or another. For example, when we had slaves, whether they're black or you're talking indentured servants or you're talking literally people that work for you for very little, immigrants even now, okay? We're talking about people that we are literally holding down in one way or another, financially, within the community. They are feared for whatever reason. They're different. There's more of them. So if they actually got together, there'd be more power. What if they weren't there to do the work anymore? Who would do the work? That sort of thing. So we need to look back at the historical perspectives. We always discuss the idea of how times have changed and how we simply can't afford to look back on one perspective anymore because it's not fair. It's not fair. So much has changed. Simply speaking about technology, no one expected that normal people would have cameras and be able to record their thoughts and feelings and pass on to whoever in the world wants to watch it. This is fascinating, wonderful, good stuff. But still, that would probably have terrified certain people. Imagine if the founding fathers had YouTube to get out to everybody, everyone would have been royally pissed, because you're spreading truth and information. I'm sure there are those that still fear that. What are we talking about? The rules. The rules are interesting. Because on one hand, it makes sense. Don't kill people. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It makes sense to me. I get that. What about animals that we have to eat? What about war? Is that okay? Some religions speak of righteous killing in the name of your Lord, which is more in the name of whatever political group is pushing you off to war, not actually God. Also, we talk about, oh gracious, honor killings, the shunning of people that are different. We can go back to the Amish. Still, so much so that Discovery has run a bajillion different specials, and someone still cares. Not me, but somebody still cares. It's sad but true. It's very true. I think our curiosity about differences certainly skews the fact that these are real people going through real things, not for our amusement. I'm sure some of it is not reality TV, but it is what it is. What do we think about people who say one thing and do another? Not specifically liars, because I don't think many of the religions call out liars specifically. Of course, the Vikings and certain cultural region-based religions value honor, and lying, of course, is not honorable. So they incorporate that. It's shocking that Christianity really didn't hardcore put that in. Of course, I understand why. History. There were a lot of lies told, and there continue to be a lot of lies told, not necessarily based on religion, but based on control. And remember, when we talk about fear, we are also very much incorporating the idea of control, because if we're afraid of something, that gives someone else control over us. So when we talk about religion, it's how is this controlling us? Okay, yeah, well, obviously you don't want to go around killing people, so thou shalt not kill makes sense. Okay, we got that. Cheating. Oh, man, don't get me started on cheating. Obviously, I am not a fan of cheating, obviously. However, a lot of that is put into religious texts because, women were property, so women couldn't cheat. Men cheated a lot. Still, women, though, did not. Why is that different? Because historically speaking, men were in control. Still kind of are, arguably. But obviously, society's changed a lot. Women have certainly become far more empowered than they were previously. So instead of smiling and kind of ignoring the cheating, we realize that we don't deserve that. Of course, the world has opened up to the idea of polygamous kind of relationships. I'm not a fan, but I don't share well and I'm very jealous. So that would make sense. But of course, I would not argue with one man to cook and one man to clean. Sexism. Yay! I won't turn down anyone cooking and cleaning. I don't care what sex they are. It's very difficult even now to kind of say things like that because it looks bad. I don't mind. I think you have to have a sense of humor about this sort of stuff. If we can't make light of certain things, then that's oppression of a different kind. This is all heavy stuff. Sorry, guys. But really, when we talk about our fear and our relationship as it relates to our religion and spirituality, this is something that should be looked at. Are we afraid of our God? Are we intimidated? Why are we supposed to fear our God? Why are we supposed to? Why? Who is telling us this? Who is telling us this? Because, on one hand, God is great and forgiving, and Jesus is telling us, love each other, feed each other, take care of each other. And then all of a sudden, God's lightning and raining down evil and all that jazz. And, don't get me wrong, I PMS, and sometimes I too have those weeks. However, it seems, if you look at it, that we're talking about really two totally different people. One who is good and kind and loving, and one who is like, screw you guys, you didn't listen to me. I'm sure the same can be said for other religions. I assume that it's easier for us to assign human traits to multiple gods and goddesses, hence the Greeks and the Romans, is somehow easier to relate to because we too have those thoughts and feelings. So when Zeus cheated constantly and had all sorts of kids with whoever he had kids with, which was pretty much everybody, I think, by the end. Oh, gracious. Not a good father figure. But still, it was culturally acceptable in that time to do that. But all the gods and goddesses were completely relatable because they weren't on high, just ignoring. They had their own lives. They had their own dramas. Really, way better than our daytime dramas. Really. So on that hand, we were fearful of some of them, and we really wanted to invoke the praise of others. Good guys, bad guys. See the difference? When you only have one purported god, goddess, whatever, higher power, it is more difficult to relate. I am not perfect by any measure of the world. I am not perfect at all. I try to be a good person. I try to do good. I try to encourage others to do the same. But do I have bad days. Thankfully, not very often, but I certainly do. And sometimes it's literally has nothing to do with me. Just crap happens, and it happens to fall in your area of life. It is what it is. I mean, my daughter has this thing now where she takes her diaper off sometime in the middle of the night and then gets upset when she wakes up and she's wet. Well, you peed on everything. I didn't have anything to do with that, yet it's in my life. Sorry, terrible allergies, guys. So no, not perfect. Lots of laundry. But it makes me think about teaching my children religion or introducing my children to the idea of religion. I really want nothing, I don't want them to have anything to do with religion for a long time, because I want them to be able to understand the difference between a mythology, a book that was written bajillion years ago, edited a million times specifically by men in power, and literally has very little intrinsic value on lives today. Truthfully. Is it a great set of stories and a great set of life lessons? Yeah, absolutely. But I think that it's kind of hardcore to ignore the fact that it literally has been edited multiple times. It obviously wasn't most of it wasn't written in a time when Jesus was alive. And even still, edited. We don't have the original books. No one has the original books. They're gone. History. Kaput. So I'm very, very cautious. Which is strange because my ex's family is wildly religious. And whenever they give the kids religious books, I hide them or throw them away. I do. They don't need those. They're 2 and 3. Really? Why? Because I don't want them to be fearful. Honestly, I don't want the stories that if you do bad things, God is going to punish you. Really? You're going to teach a 5-year-old that? How old do kids have to be until we're like, I don't want you to be afraid of anyone in power over your life. I want you to be good because it's right to be good. I don't want you to worry about Satan sneaking into your room at night and putting bad ideas in your head. Now, if you have bad ideas, it's because you have bad ideas. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't do drugs. These are things that we need to instill goodness as a community. Duh. Don't shoot police officers. Don't rob banks. Like, can we instill common sense as a virtue? Like, how does that work? Can we do that? So no, I don't want my kids anywhere near religion. I don't. I probably will take them to churches, all sorts of different churches when they're older, if they're interested. I'm not going to pressure them either. I don't like that. Fear is the mind killer. Dune, hardcore Dune. Fear is the mind killer. As that relates to religion, well, a lot of the older people that I meet on their spiritual path are overcoming their religion. I'm going to say that again. A lot of older people that I meet on their spiritual path are overcoming religion. Let that sink in. If you have to overcome your religion and the scars that your religion has left in your life, that's not good. Not at all. If your religion doesn't make you want to be a better person, doesn't make you want to help others, then what's the point? So I'm a big fan of atheists. A lot of atheists I know are awesome, giving, nurturing, loving people. They feel a freedom in not having to deal with the sense of rules or guidance by some ancient text that's not important today. Now, a lot of people will assume that I mean the Bible. I mean all of them, dude, all of them. I'm not attacking any religion specifically. I mean, a lot of the Druidic stuff just simply doesn't affect us anymore. Our communities are completely different. Obviously, human sacrifice no longer necessary. Well, debatable, but truly no longer necessary. If we're going Buddhist, I think it is very difficult to extricate yourself from society, to live on the side of a mountain and survive by yourself and learn, and then somehow come back to society and teach, because A, nobody's going to want to hear you. B, not many people will probably notice you're missing unless you're some big guru or whatever. And C, I don't think anyone would care. It is what it is. We are unimpressed with simplicity of discovering ourselves. There you go. Although some people have their own revolutions, and they think, A, there must be more. B, this isn't right. Or C, none of this vibes with me. There's a reason. Seek your own answers. Please seek your own answers. This is going so long. I knew it was going to be long. Spirit guide says, Spirit guide, she just kind of smiles and nods at me when I go off. The interesting thing is your spirit guide is not attached to any specific religion. So if you were Jewish, that doesn't mean your spirit guide is Jewish. If you're Catholic, it doesn't mean your spirit guide's Catholic. In fact, they just kind of toe the party line. Angels may very well be Valkyries. I don't know for sure. I don't. Go Amazons. There are so many unanswered questions. But I want you to look at the fear that being raised a specific faith has instilled in you. All of us have those little scars of someone scaring us. You can't do that. God is watching. You can't do that. You'll be punished. Satan is making you listen to rock and roll music, Yeah. So, I love you guys. Please take a look and compare religions if you're not comfortable looking deeply into your own spirituality or religion. Look at another religion. Compare it. What are they instilling fear for? Can you relate to that somehow? All right. I love you guys very much. I hope this didn't offend anyone. I'm sure it offended a few people. That's okay. I still love you. Keep on the faith. This is a hard week if you actually delved into it. It really is. And it should make you question. I want you to question. I want you to question everything. And seek your own answers. I don't have the answer to everything. Neither does she. It's not our job. It's your job to find the answers that you need and want. All right? I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.